Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Today we're talking about one of my favorite techniques to ever use, which I had originally learned from Fred Dodson, which is this technique called mental pivoting, okay? Now, if you haven't ever used mental pivoting before, let me explain. Mental pivoting is where you shift your attention from unwanted thoughts to wanted thoughts. No essays, no therapy speak. Just turning your head away from what you do not prefer to what you do. Then there's also something called mental alternating, which is flipping your attention back and forth, almost like a light switch, okay? So on, off, on, off. So you're going preferred, unwanted, preferred, unwanted, preferred, unwanted. So you're toggling the switch until you realize you can control the switch. So you don't need to fix your life, you need to reclaim the axis of your attention. Because attention is creation. You think you're reacting to the world, but the world's been reacting to you even before you had a name. Every why me moment is a feedback of your focus, what you're choosing to focus on. And you've been staring at your wounds for so long that you've started to worship them. So this is why mental pivoting and mental alternating keeps you in this current of neutrality, because once you've toggled enough times, you now become the choice points that can decide, I choose not to give extra attention to this unwanted reality, but I want to pivot it into the reality I prefer. Now, the trick here is not to get dissuaded by 3D reality, because you might be pivoting, let's say, from a very broke state to a very rich state in your mind. If you have those images very clear and vivid in your mind, it will help you. But if it's kind of hazy, if you're not working on your imagination, and you're not able to actually visualize or see this mental toggle, try and see if you can put on noise-canceling headphones. Try all different ways, right, to suppress certain senses so that other senses rise, right? You could blindfold yourself to increase your sense of hearing and so forth, right? So in the same way, we're doing it for your mental pivoting to actually train you to be able to switch like this. Now, there's also a technique called natural grounding that we'd gotten from Rion Kati, who also we have a podcast with on this channel if you go check it out. So your nervous system is a portal. If you don't regulate it, it gets puppeted by your feed, the algorithm. So right now, there's a lot of entrainment attacks happening, which means that if you go on social media, you'll notice there's certain things you might see that are gonna spike your anxiety, okay? So we're going into kind of a timeline split between real timeline, organic timeline, and synthetic timeline. And so if you're facing anxiety right now, that's just one alarm that still needs disillusioning. Timeline splits amplify your most essential lesson that you need to learn until you embody it. So decouple this idea that uncertainty equals fear, because it doesn't. The point here is for you to hold the unknown without collapsing. You see, the ancients said, where the eyes go, the soul follows. They meant that literally. Focus is not harmless, it's a spell. Every time you repeat your problem, you're chanting an incantation that keeps it alive. Every time you ruminate on fear, you feed it protein. Every time you dismiss your limits, it adds bricks to your prison. And the tragedy is, you built it from the most divine substance in existence, your awareness. Now, mental pivoting is simple, but it's not easy. When you deliberately shift your gaze, whether that be physical, like just turning away from something, or mentally pivoting from I don't want this to I want this instead. You don't deny the problem, you transmute it by resigning your attention from it. First, you gotta see the unwanted very clearly. Don't pretend it's not there, right? I don't think cowardice is very spiritual. Look at the damn monster and name it. I'm scared of being alone. I hate this job. I feel broke, whatever it is. Just define it, one clear line. You don't need to write an entire poem about it, okay? And then you breathe. You exhale long as you think about it. This is crucial because you've got to discharge the emotional electricity behind the thought. So you have to take the intensity of the thought down, of its charge. Then you pivot. What do I want instead? Now here's the mistake that 99% of people make when they do this. They answer half-heartedly with a very lazy imagination. When you pivot, you must embody the preferred. So if you're trapped, don't think about being free. Feel free. Feel what freedom does to your shoulders, to your breathing, to even like your jaw relaxing. So don't visualize love, taste it. Let your chest open like it's remembering. Let your nervous system marinate in the new image until it starts whispering, "This feels like home. My nervous system feels safe with this." So this is what we're really doing. We're taking the unpreferred state, we're reducing the charge, and we're flipping it into a positive embodiment. And if the mind switches back into the fear, you just pivot back, right? You alternate. Preferred, unwanted. Preferred, unwanted, right? 10 seconds in the unwanted, 30 seconds in the wanted. So what we're doing here is we're actually rebalancing the positivity ratio in positive psychology, where 3:1, right? So that means that one negative thought is equal to 3 positive thoughts. So we're using more positive thinking. We're staying longer in the wanted state than the unwanted one until the unwanted one shrinks and disappears. Are we getting this, guys? So it's like toggling a light switch. You're not torturing yourself, okay? You're not like, oh, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure. No, you're toggling the control, right? You're training control now. You're showing the psyche, I, not circumstance, decide where attention lives. And at first, it's mechanical, it's clunky, it feels clumsy, you feel fake, you feel like you're pretending. Good. Pretend so hard that the pretending becomes being. Move past the awkward few stages of this, okay? Just stay in it for longer. Soon, the gap between both of those realities starts to shrink until it can hold either with calm. And once the emotional charge dissolves, guess what's left? The power. So remember the ratio, 3 or 4 parts preferred for every 1 part unwanted. You can acknowledge darkness, but don't dine in it. You taste and move, right? That's not denial. This is a kind of an energetic hygiene, actually, because you got to protect your attention in a lizard brain attention economy. The saints did it, the shamans did it, the entrepreneurs that build empires do it. It's just the same mechanism, but it's a different language. If you want to make it into a ceremony or ritual, do it right. Step 1, name what you don't want. I feel anxiety in my gut. Step 2, feel it fully without resistance. Breathe through it, exhale long. Breathe it out like smoke. Exhale it like steam. Once you've done this for a while, you can ask yourself, what do I choose instead? Now build that scene in your awareness. The room when it's done. The posture of that self. The hum of that ease. Now stay here 3 to 4 times as longer as the problem that you had, which was anxiety in your gut. Once you open your eyes, you actually assume that the preferred one is your current reality. So you walk, talk, eat like that version. And if you start doing this daily, you'll start noticing how the external world starts bending towards you. Because reality is not made of matter. It's made of mirrored perception. So the outer world is a feedback loop of what you habitually focus on and emotionally energize. So pivoting actually rewires that loop, and alternating resets your magnetic field. So every pivot is recalibrating your personal gravities so that good things orbit you again. People ask me, but Uncle Makara, isn't that just positive thinking? No. Positive thinking is just putting perfume on garbage. Pivoting is alchemy. It doesn't deny the rot. It composts it into fertilizer. You get what I'm saying? Use the same attention that once built hell into building heaven. And that's true mastery. Your nervous system must feel safe in the preferred. Most people sabotage their desires because their pleasure feels unsafe. You start to feel good and then your body says, this is unfamiliar, abort mission. And then it creates chaos again because chaos is what you're used to. That's why alternating is so brilliant, right? It exposes both poles, polarities, unwanted and preferred, until the nervous system stops panicking and you desensitize it with suffering and success alike. And then peace becomes your baseline, right? And power becomes your natural expression. When you do this consistently, something within you shifts that cannot really be explained through words. The body becomes a tuning fork for the higher order realities. You begin to move very differently, not from a hope, but from an inevitability. Opportunities start walking towards you. People mirror your new tone without saying a thing. It's kind of eerie at first, right? Because you realize the world was never outside me. It's just an echo chamber of my last fixation. So if you want to anchor this, you got to make this physical for you. When you catch yourself spiraling, stand up maybe. Clap your hands once hard. That's your signal to the field. And then you say it loud, pivot. And then you breathe deep into the new line that you're reprogramming the code with. I'm the kind of being that moves towards clarity, towards wealth, towards love. Call it until your cells feel like they've heard this command before. Because they probably have, they've just been waiting for you to remember. And when life tests you, alternate again. 5 seconds of pain, 10 seconds of peace. Back and forth, until neutrality arrives. Now that neutrality is the door. Once you step through it, then you're back in the cockpit of consciousness in a sense, right? You're the pilot now. And over time, this becomes instinctual for you. So it becomes flow state mastery, right? Unconscious competence. So the same way that your body blinks without thinking, your attention will automatically pivot towards coherence. This is where you graduate from manifestor to creator. You stop pushing reality and you start sculpting it from the stillness. And you'll know you've arrived when chaos doesn't impress you anymore. Someone could shout, fire! And your pulse rises, but then you just smirk slightly and say, a chance to practice. Because it isn't this outer game, it's your inner command. So face the unwanted, name it. Pivot to the preferred, embody it. Alternate until you're fluent in both, and end every session on the preferred. Do this morning and night, and your dreams will start obeying you. This is the lost art of inner Aikido. The moment you master it, you stop being the hunted mind, and you become the hunter of enlightenment. Shout out to the hunter moon that we just had. One day, you'll just wake up and laugh because nothing is fixed. You just stopped gripping on the wrong end of reality. You stopped feeding the monster, and you started feeding the God. That's how you do it. You're not here to fix anything because you're already whole and perfect and complete. You just remember the oldest secret of them all. The universe is not outside of you. The universe is an echo of your attention. Returning home. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. May the flow be with you. Stay legendary. Upward Spiral Gang. To infinity and beyond. Let's get it. Let's win. Boom.